So I'll use another analogy. Remember, the body changes from exercise, right? So the goal here is, let's say, become more fit, or improve my strength or my stamina, or let's say get leaner, build muscle, right? So that's kind of the aim, is to get those types of results. Well, exercise doesn't do that. Exercise causes that. What I mean by that is exercise is a stress on the body, and then the body adapts to that stress so that that stress no longer becomes a stress. Now, this is why you end up adding weight to the bar or going a little harder, because then you have to kind of add a little more stress to get the body to change again. But it is a stress. Your body adapts from the stress. If the stress is too high, you will overcome your body's ability to adapt, and then your body's just focused on healing. So here's the analogy I like to use with another system of adaptation of the body, which is your skin's ability to tan when exposed to the sun. So when you go out into the sun, the UV rays from the sun are a stress on the skin. Then your body, it uses things like melanin to darken the skin to adapt to that stress, so that that stress no longer stresses you. And then if you want to get any darker, you have to stay on the sun a little bit longer, or with a little bit more intensity to continue to let's say further the tan along. Well, imagine if you haven't been out in the sun for a while and you went outside and you spend too long in the sun. Are you going to get a tan? No, you're going to get sunburn. You're going to get sunburn. You're not going to get a tan. Your body's only going to want to heal from that sunburn, and you haven't accomplished anything really. And if anything, you've reduced your ability to get further sun exposure. There's a lot of danger, of course, associated with that. So what would be the best way to get a tan if you haven't been out in the sun very much? You go out and get a little bit of exposure, just a little more than you're used to. So anything more than you're used to now will get your body to adapt. That's all. So if you do nothing, literally 5 squats is going to be more than you're doing now, or a 10-minute walk is more than you're doing now. There's a couple other things you want to look at, right? Muscle soreness is a good indicator that you might have done too much. You either shouldn't feel sore or feel a little bit of soreness after a workout, like the kind of soreness you have to search for. So you kind of stretch and move and go, oh, I think I worked out. Like, that's okay. That's good. You don't want the kind of soreness where you're moving funny, or you just touch it and the muscle is hurting. You went way too hard. You've gone beyond what's necessary for the adaptation to occur, which means you've also now compromised your body's ability to adapt. Now your body's mainly just focusing on healing. So those are kind of some things that I would pay attention to in terms of what's the right intensity. And I do want to be very clear, when you're looking at the stimulus that exercise provides that causes the adaptation, there's a perfect dose, and that perfect dose will get you the fastest results, okay? More than that will get you results slower. Less than that, of course, gets you results slower as well. So it's the perfect dose. So it's like this bell curve. So when you hit that perfect amount, you feel energized after, so you feel good. You feel good throughout the day. The next day, you're not really sore, or maybe a tiny bit sore, and you just kind of feel like, wow, that was not bad. That's the right dose. More than that is going to get you there slower. And I have to say that because I need to sell the idea, because people tend to think, well, if I do a little more than what he said, then I'll get there faster. You won't. You'll actually get there slower. So it's the right dose. You should feel good, and it should feel like a smooth process. Now, someone may be confused right now because they go on social media and they see people having these really fit people just beating the crap out of themselves, having these crazy workouts. Well, consider their fitness level, their level of experience, and how long they've been working out in order to get their bodies to further adapt or to accomplish any more performance gains or strength gains. They do need to train at a very high intensity, because they've already been training for so long. To get any further, it's going to be really hard. Taking a couch potato to taking someone who doesn't run at all and getting them to run a mile without stopping, okay, is easier than taking an Olympic gold medalist and having them shave off 0.2 seconds off of their mile time. I mean, that sounds like nothing, but when you're talking about super high performance, squeezing out anything else is like you are moving the smallest pieces to make that happen. So don't look at these hyper fit, super consistent athletes and, models or whatever on social media and say, oh, I need to work out like that. That's not what you need to do. For your body, the right dose looks a lot different.
And for the person who tuning in right now is looking to incorporate resistance training to the point of getting the health benefits, and
Yeah.
they have a busy life, this is just going to be one piece of their health and wellness foundation. How do they know what that goal is they're trying to get to? Obviously, they're going to want to ramp up if this is new to them and take their time getting into it. But once they're in a cadence and this is part of their routine, how much do we need to do to get, say, 80% of the benefits when it comes to health and wellness?
Most people could get probably all the results that they want with about 2 days a week of strength training. More advanced, you're looking at 3, maybe 4, and that's it. So I trained people for years, and the average person, is not trying to look like a bodybuilder or walk on stage and, have veins in their shoulders. The average person wants to look good and feel good. They want to have an improvement in the quality of your life. You could go really far with a well-structured 2-day-a-week strength training routine. For somebody who's not exercising right now at all or doing any strength training at all, they'll get phenomenal results probably for a good 6-month period with just 1 day a week. So it doesn't require a lot. Strength training sends the signal. The rest of the week is what that's where the adaptation is happening. Now, the workout within that time frame changes. So a 2-day-a-week routine for a beginner looks very different than when they become, more advanced. They've been training for a year or two consistently. But there's so much you could do with just that most people don't need more than that. Now, people are probably wondering, well, so I'm only going to be active 1 or 2 days a week? No. We're talking about strength training. In terms of activity, it's a good idea to be active every day. Now, what does that look like? For most people, walking. For most people, if you were to take 2 to 3, 10 to 15-minute walks a day for the rest of your life, you're going to get, 85% of the benefits that activity will provide you in terms of health and longevity. Now, you're not going to have super stamina and endurance, but in terms of the health benefits, tremendous just from doing that. And I like to structure those post-meal. So it's like breakfast, 10-minute walk, lunch, 10-minute walk, dinner, 10-minute walk, 30-minute walk every single day. Or if you go 15, turns into 45 minutes. And you're doing phenomenal. And I'm talking about the average person. Again, this is a person with a family, a job. They're not trying to make their life revolve around fitness. They just want to have great longevity, health, mobility, energy benefits from it. That's it. You don't need to do a whole lot. It's got to be done right.
If you enjoyed that clip, press here for the full episode. I'll see you over there.
The default is going to be you're going to be obese. You're probably going to develop diabetes, and you're not going to feel very good. And that's just the way it is, and you have to step outside of that in order to change things. Muscle is so protective, in fact, that is